Chase, happy friggin' New Year.
2025 already starting out with a
Here we
bang.
are. We are doing a bang up job. Welcome to the Casual Hour. I am Bobby. This is episode 405, and Chase decided to be here for 403 of those, I think. Right? Is that my math? Is my math right?
I feel like I might have missed
No,
more than
not.
two. You think I've been here for
the true professional?
all but two?
No. Somebody had to be here when Johnny
I missed the first one because I wasn't invited. Because I didn't know you yet. Yeah, I didn't even know you.
That's
then.
not me.
Man, I don't know.
Well,
maybe. I feel like there's been some other days where I've taken off.
I'm happy you're here. 2025 is going to be a fun year for us. I don't know if the rest of the year will be fun, but I think
for us anyway.
For us,
the rest of the world, probably terrible.
Probably terrible, almost assuredly.
If it's anything like 2024.
Yes. If you don't know who we are the Casual Hour. We've been doing this since 2016. We talk about video games, talk about life, we talk about friendship, all the above. And the good
old days of 2016. Everybody remembers.
The good old days of 2016. You happen to catch us not only at the beginning of the year, but typically within the first week of a month, we like to do a monthly preview. And what that is just us telling you about games that excite us for the month. We look back at our picks from the prior month and see, did we get it right? Usually we don't. And then we tell you about what games we hope to play, usually we do, in the month that they are coming out to help you make a decision on what would be best for you. And if you like this, usually the weeks following, we'll tell you about the games we've been playing, some news, maybe some list, maybe a deep dive onto a topic. And of course, we always do Game of the Year celebration at the end of the year, which you can go and listen to right now. We have 3 episodes up that cover topics such as best new character, best debut, best style. And then we do our collective top 10 list, where we each break down the games that meant the most to us for the year. But if you're here tonight, we want to tell you about some games that we've been playing over the last few weeks, which are kind of like our winter break, our podcasting break. I've played a lot of stuff. I'm not going to talk about all of it tonight for sure, but I'm going to give Chase a chance to tell me what he's been doing, which I think he's been up to no good. And then we can plan on what we'll be doing for the rest of the month.
Sounds good.
Chase, have you been up to no good is my question.
I've been up to some things that I think are quite good.
You've been keeping
I've been up to good.
Are you living clean?
Oh yeah, the only Destiny thing I've touched is literally this hat that has the that has the Jade Rabbit symbol on it. But outside of that, yeah, so clean. Okay. So fresh and so clean. I think I deserve like a chip at some point. I think has it been over a year? No, it probably hasn't been over a year.
I'm
getting there.
The longest I think you've gone though.
I am. Oh, it's definitely the longest.
Yeah, I think this is the longest.
I did. I did hear. I was looking up some Game of the Year stuff from some other outlets, and one of the ones I saw. I don't read any of the Giant Bomb ones anymore because it just makes me sad. But I did see. I follow AuraHack on Blue Sky now, who is a frequent Giant Bomb fan, semi-contributor, friend of the site, I guess. Yeah. And she put up one. And one of the things she had in kind of her unstructured list was just talking about Destiny. And it didn't make me want to play Destiny, but it did at least make me interested to be like, yeah, you know what? I played all that Destiny and I never really saw the end of the story. Which was like the last, like I left and then they ended the story right after that. So what I did do was download, let's see how big this is. I downloaded a 13.5 gigabyte file that is the full Destiny movie, every cutscene up to the final shape, all Destiny 1 and 2 cutscenes updated .mp4.
You're sick. You might be living clean, but you're still dirty.
Yes, absolutely. This is let me just check here. This is an 11-hour and 40-minute film.
Almost as long
I've not started watching that yet, but who knows? Maybe I will resolve to watch that sometime this year, and or I could just watch the end of it and just watch what happens in the final shape. Yeah, so I got a little missy about Destiny, and I was like, oh sure. Yeah, I remember that game. But no, I haven't played any Destiny. No, instead, I have been playing Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, whatever the fuck you call it. And this was a game I wanted to play for a long time. I've been waiting for
Yeah.
this remake to come out. I've owned this game on Game Boy Color, and I've got ROMs for previous versions, NES version, and things like that. But this version looked really nice, and I was interested to see what they would do with the HD 2D stuff. I like the HD 2D games generally.
Yeah.
I
Looks
thought, yeah,
slick.
let's just wait and see. And unfortunately, I knew it was going to be. It was down to like that and Metaphor at the end of the year, and I thought
So
Metaphor
that's
is
the
like
big thing
a
you're gonna
real
play.
brand new game,
Yeah.
and I had friends talking it up, and I felt like I needed to play it, and I'm glad I played it.
Yeah.
I had my issues with it as we talked about at Game of the Year time, but I ended up still really enjoying that game. But that meant I just never got around to Dragon Quest, and it was one of the ones. It wasn't my backlog game of the year. That was UFO 50, which still, maybe they'll make a Switch version of that someday soon, and then I can play the game that I really want to play. But it did leave me some time to play Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, and
Does it live up
I've
to the
got
hype?
about yeah, I think so. I think so.
I
It's
got tempted by it. It looks slick. People seem to really enjoy it, but I also don't know if that's the flavor of Dragon Quest I'm looking for these days.
It might not be. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So I think I've got about 10 hours into this so far.
Okay.
And it's it starts I mean it's weird. It's the third Dragon Quest game. It was on the NES, so it feels weird to say it's kind of like a throwback because it's not a throwback. It is the
is.
back.
Yeah, this is it.
It's what was back. But it does scratch an itch of, oh yeah, I remember these kinds of games. Like I remember when it didn't take you so long to get into an RPG. You didn't have to
You
go
just fucking did it.
you
You
know
just opened it.
spend an hour like talking to your mom and then being led to this thing and
100%.
talking to the king. I mean, you do talk to your mom and then you go talk to a king in Dragon Quest 3, but it just is a little zippier. And there's no like walking around and going a bunch of hours. Like in Metaphor ReFantazio, it takes you a while to get a second party member of Stroll, and then it
Yeah.
takes
I
you
mean,
a while longer to get a third party member, and then that third party member dies, and then
well, dude, they don't
then you
even
got to
let you
get a
play the actual game loop until 7 hours into the game.
totally exactly. And this game goes, you know what? What if you just went to a bar after you talked to the king, and you just get a full party of four? How's that sound? Like you're your character, like you made your character already. Great.
Yeah.
Here's three characters. Do you like them? Oh, you don't? You want to throw one of them away? Okay. Do you not like any of them? You can go make your own characters. Just go upstairs, make your own characters, however you want. And so I did that, and I made a team of four. I picked their classes, I picked their personalities, I picked what they look like. I think all of that stuff is pretty darn nice in the game. Like they've got appearance options and um, like male and female versions of each of the characters, and class stuff. I think is cool. They give you like a little personality quiz at the beginning of the game to figure out what your personality is. And personalities in this game are a little bit kind of like natures in Pokemon, where they will
Calm,
like
lazy.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like they'll correspond to your stat boosts. So
Yeah.
when you gain a level, it'll be like, oh, I think my original one was thug. Like this godly voice is just like, I don't know, you're kind of a thug, aren't you? By the way, I answered my questions, which I think like ups my strength rolls. Like I'll get potentially more strength at each level up, but maybe I'll miss out on wisdom in my level ups. And you can change those personalities over time based on different things you do in the game or reading different books to get better personalities that will up your stats in that way. But it's really just like this very traditional JRPG
I mean, it's about as
because
fucking
it's
traditional as you're gonna get.
yeah. I mean it's the reason. It is
Yeah.
the tradition. Like
Yeah, like-
it is
like
not
this-
traditional.
this-
it is the tradition.
this
This,
is
is
the
why
thing.
RPGs are built like this
Yeah.
because this game was out.
This is the
and
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first Dragon Quests or the Dragon Warrior over here is what they were called, but Dragon Quest 3 is where it really started to they figured it out, and I think they got a lot of cool stuff in here. And one of the big things is the class system.
Sure.
This is one of the first games that has this kind of job system where you are able to switch jobs. I'm not to the part where you can switch jobs yet. The characters I have, I put them into whatever classes I wanted them to start with. So your character is always the hero class, which is just set. But then for the other three, I have a warrior, I have a mage, and I have a thief. And you can pick other ones too. There's some sillier ones. There's one called Gadabout, which is just like a silly guy.
Sure.
There's white mages and things like that that can you have a bunch of different options for you, monks and things like that, and those correspond to the types of equipment that you can equip. Sometimes the stats that you can get out of those, the max level stats you can get out of those. But then you just kind of go around the game and fight slimes and go
Then
do
it's just a
shit.
fucking
It's
ROM.
it's kind of great. It's
Yeah,
kind of
man.
just like walking around. I think they have some quality of life stuff in there that makes the game just feel good. You can hold the B button. I'm playing on Switch, so you hold the B button to run
Performing
anywhere.
okay for you
And
there, I would imagine.
oh
Probably not.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
this is not a very intensive game.
Yeah.
But it's stylish. The
Yeah.
HD 2D stuff makes everything just look good. It's just nice to walk around these spaces, and it feels light and breezy while also still feeling big and open. Like these spaces that I'm going around,
That's what I
one of
was
the first
noticing.
things.
They look big. Like
Yeah, like one
it's
of the
got
first.
scope.
I mean, they're big, but they're navigable. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to. You can kind of get lost a little bit, but you're not going to get. Like you're not going to waste a bunch of time here.
Sure.
One of the first things you do is you find this key that opens red doors, and so you'll kind of get this Metroidvania style thing of like, oh, I've seen a red door. Like I think there was like a red door in that dungeon thing that I was in. Maybe I can go back to that dungeon and open that up. And like, oh, this takes me to a new place that I haven't been. And this place is kind of open, and that's cool. And so it gives you a lot of things to do, but it also has the really nice feature that was not in the original game of you just want to toggle a thing that like puts a little yellow circle around where you're supposed to go next. Like this is the next story beat. Like you can fuck around and do whatever you want, but here's where you need to go at some point. Here's who you need to talk to. And that stuff is all really nice. You can also hit the start button. Again, playing on Switch, your mileage may vary on which button it is, but you can hit a button after talking to somebody, and it will log that information. So if somebody says something that you're like, oh, I should really remember that, you can just hit the button, and then basically it says, yeah, your character will remember that, and you can pull up those conversations later through a menu option, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
It's just chill. It's just a chill experience.
It looks like it'd
One
be
of
a good
the
little time killer.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. Like the grinding hasn't been too bad, but also sometimes it's just fun to go out and grind a little bit. It's and fight some enemies. One of the things that's interesting to me, it's changing kind of the way I play games a little bit, is I think back to a game like Persona 3 when I first played it. And I didn't play very much of Persona 3. I bounced off it pretty quickly. But one of the things I didn't like in Persona 3 was that the rest of your party did whatever the hell they wanted to. Like you pick your own character's actions, the main character's actions, but then the rest of the party was like, well, I'll attack or I'll heal or I'll use this magic move because the AI said so. They just thought it was the best
Sure.
move. And I generally hate that shit because I like tinkering. I like doing the stuff. I like
You like the
making
control.
sure that yeah, I like having that full control of the party. Um, and that's an option that I believe they added in Persona 4. So that felt good to be like, okay, I'm taking full control over the party, which is why I like Persona 4 a lot more than 3. I think they've added that option back into 3 and 3 Reloaded and some of those other
Yeah,
versions of
you
3.
can
So I probably
control
like that one
yourself
a lot more.
and Reloaded.
Yeah. But so Dragon Quest 3 defaults to having everybody except your main character doing their own thing. And there are different tactics that you can give them. So you can say, fight wisely, which is a little bit offense, a little bit defense, kind of I'm letting you figure it out. There's show no mercy, which is hey man, hit him with your strongest move. I don't care if it uses your MP or not. Just fucking do it. There's one that's focused on healing. There's one that is, don't use MP at all. So if you're just grinding out in the world,
Yeah.
you can just go, hey, just use your regular attacks. I don't need you using up all your magic and fucking me over when I get to like a real dungeon.
Sure.
And you can take full control as well. But at this point, 10 hours in, it's been kind of nice to just let them figure it out. It makes the combat go a little bit faster. There's also some options where you can speed up the general speed of combat, which is nice too. And just kind of letting people take their own turns and figure shit out. One of the other things, this is the last thing I'll say before we move on, because I'll probably be talking about this for the next couple weeks.
We're probably just going to keep it to one game each, given that we're knocking on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I'll give like a quick not even a quick update, but I'll just mention something after this. But one of the other things that's unique to Dragon Quest is that the enemies are bunched up in different ways. Sure. So you'll have multiple slimes that are right next to each other, but then there will be a Draki. I haven't seen a Draki yet, but just Draki is a Dragon Quest thing, but it's like a little bat thing. And so when you get to choose who to attack, there are certain types of weapons or certain types of moves that can hit groups of enemies, but you can't hit all three of those enemies. You can only hit the enemies that are of the same type. So if the two slimes are right next to each other, that's one group of enemies. So there's a whip weapon in the game, and whips can hit groups of enemies. So you can use the whip to hit both of the slimes or the one Draki if you wanted to. That's your option. Or if the mage has a move called Sizz, which does a fire attack to groups of enemies. So again, you have that option. Which one of these groups do you want to take out? But there's also boomerang weapons in the game, and boomerangs will hit every enemy on screen. So that's, now you're kind of balancing. Okay, the boomerang's a little weaker, but it definitely hits everybody. The whip's a little stronger, but only hits groups of enemies. Then I've got like swords and lances, which do big damage, but only to a single enemy. How do I want to change those things out? And when you have the rest of your party members do whatever the fuck they want, sometimes they won't be as efficient as you want them to. Like maybe my character, I'm going to use the whip on these two slimes, and my big warrior, she just slashes one of the slimes and kills it. And I was like, well, now you wasted my attack. If you had hit the Draki, I could have hit the other two, and we could have gotten this done faster. But that's just been kind of the fun for me of watching what happens when my characters, like, maybe they won't make the most efficient play, but that's fine. It's not a big deal generally. And it does have difficulty modes in the game, so you can choose if you want the game to be a little bit harder and you want more full control, you can do that. If you want the game to be a little bit easier and you just want to let people do whatever the hell they want, there's a lot of customizability in there, which is something I didn't necessarily expect from a game that is based on a game from so long ago. So I'm having a really good time. It's pretty simple.
Sounds like it.
But it just makes me happy as I play it.
Do you need anything to make you happy these days?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly no Dragon Quest IX, which is my favorite one from the DS era, which I think is Dragon Quest III on steroids. I feel like everything that's great about the Dragon Quest III game, it seems like they perfected it in 9, and I really hope 9 gets a remake someday. But it's been fun, and I know I'm about to get to the spot where you can start reclassing characters, and there's reasons to do that or not do that, and so I'm looking forward to some of that stuff. But it's different than a Final Fantasy III where you get to a crystal and then you like get 6 new jobs that you can get into. Final Fantasy V does a similar thing, and it's kind of nice to just have all this freedom at the beginning and just experiment and see what happens. And it's just been good. It's just been a really nice experience, and I'm excited to continue playing on that some more.
Hell yeah, man. That has been a long time coming, I know, and I am stoked for you to finally get to play that. Looking forward to hearing more about it on episodes to come.
Definitely.
I've been busy myself, man. Lots of cool stuff happening, but a game that I had no idea, we certainly didn't cover it on our show, a game called Tankhead. Not to be confused, I think there's a manga out there of the same name, or at least one in the making.
Maybe.
And this is exclusive to the Epic Game Store right now. It'll set you back $30, and it is made by Alpha Channel, which I don't know a whole lot about. It's a really neat game. It's a post-apocalyptic game. You are controlling a character named Whitaker, and Whitaker is a drone of some sort. Like, it kind of looks like a Roomba, but you are in this like war-tattered like countryside, and you are attaching yourself to tanks or what could be, I guess, like robotic equipment in general, and you take control of them. This is a
Okay.
it's a run-based game. You start with a pretty stripped down, bare bones tank that you have a persistent credit that you can apply and buy more like passive upgrades for your character, or you can buy, if you have run based currency, you can go back to this base and upgrade your tank with shit that you could find out in the world. It is PvE, so there's no PvP stuff in it, but when you're out and about, you've got minor points of interest, major points of interest, and you have a quest that you're taking, which usually ends with a very large scale boss battle. But you are being attacked constantly, and as you destroy enemies, you can go and salvage components off of their tanks and attach them to yours. So this is like light armor, heavy armor. You can find different weapons throughout it. Maybe you want to put a like a souped up engine to make your tank a bit faster, or if you want an armored one to be a little bit slower but more withstanding of damage, you can do that this way. It's got a cool look to it. The mechanic of it, like the input, feels really good. I talked a lot about this game last year, but Pacific Drive was a really popular game of mine, and you did a very similar thing where you would come across, you know, other vehicles or people that were in the
Sure.
zone, and you would scrap them. You're doing the same thing here. It feels very much of that ilk, and I like that a whole lot. The idea of building your tank up to go further on a run is a really compelling piece, and I think it works. It does. I think it comes across as a concept because I believe it's a shorter game. Like, I think there's like 3 bosses right now. People are pretty upset about the price of the game with the content of the game right now. But it seems like they have plans to add onto this and build it out pretty far. I think they
Yeah.
had
But it's
limited
still only $30. Like, it's not like
it's
it's a full
30
price game
bucks.
or anything.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks cool. Like, just looking at this trailer, and it was funny you're mentioning the like the way you're able to put parts onto each tank while that was happening in the trailer, and it has like a Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts kind of
Yeah.
feel to it, of like sticking these different pieces on there. But yeah, it seems neat. I like this. And
Yeah,
this
it's
is
really
this is like
cool.
out, or is it
Yep,
like in an
it's
early
out.
access?
It says it's out. Base game right now. I haven't heard him say it was like a limited or, you know, a preview mode, but I'm really digging it. I think I'm actually going to stream it one night, either on a Friday morning or Friday evening. But it's cool. It's a run-based game. I've beat the first boss. Took me like 2 tries, but I ended up going with a bit more of a nimble build versus versus a tankier build for that boss, and it worked out
Yeah.
really well for me.
Yeah, this seems
Um,
cool.
yeah, man, I'm really digging it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think the environment looks cool, and I'm curious to see how far it'll go. But Alpha Channel, I don't know much more about them besides Tankhead. All one word. Epic Game Store exclusive. I am playing with the controller.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't locked to that, but
That's been a big complaint. But I did see, as I was pulling information up on it, it got rated as Steam Deck compatible. So I don't know if it was like a limited time thing for Epic and it's kind of blown up there. So they're like, oh, cool, let's put it on Steam and really see where it goes. But
well, and Steam Decks can run the Epic Game Store, and
Absolutely.
you can, yeah. So even if you don't have it, you can have it, kind of thing.
You can have it. But the control works good on it. Came out December 11th, $30, made by and published by Alpha Channel Inc. Currently locked to the Epic Game Store, and that's Tankhead. You'll see more of it, I'm sure, in the weeks to come here on the Casual Hour.
Very cool.
Chase, enough with this bullshit. Let's get into the real reason why people are here with us tonight. What did we think of the games we played in December?
Well, I can't tell you much because the games I put in my picks, I didn't play either of them. One of them, well, that's not quite fair. One of the games that I had picked was Fantasian,
Yep.
which I have played. I played Fantasian on a phone and liked the game and didn't like playing it on a phone. And now it's not on a phone anymore. But it is $50. And I went, I don't know if I need to play Fantasian that bad right now. I can wait for a sale. At a time when so many games are on sale right now, it's really hard to justify paying $50 for a game that I know I'll like, but I couldn't do it.
I bought it.
Yeah, you did. Hell yeah, but
I bought it because they were advertising like some bonuses if you bought it at this time, where they like gave you. The one thing I did not kind of want, like that first part of that game was a bit of a slog.
Yeah, you're in like a factory kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I mean it is just like a long. Oh, no, it's not even that long of a tutorial, but it's enough that, like, man, for a game that has these really cool backgrounds that
Yeah.
are all like hand built, the factory is not one of the nicer looking ones, I would say.
It just gives you some shit to level up faster. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'll take that. I'm going to end up buying it. I'm sure I could get it on sale, but I grabbed it, and I've played just to the point where you get to that first town.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I have picked that one up.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I will definitely play that game this year. I just needed to come down in price a little bit, and then
It's
can't
on
wait
the
to
Switch.
get back
It's on
to it.
everything. Switch, PlayStation, and
Yeah.
Xbox now.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
That is right. The other game I had on my picks is a game called Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. Have you ever
Don't
heard of
even
this
know
one,
'em. Don't
Bobby?
even know 'em.
Okay, yeah, I didn't expect that you did. I didn't play much of this, but I believe somebody else at the Casual Hour did.
Chase, I'm at a point in that game right now. I'm on a run. I have a whole new book that does not even involve
Oh, no.
repairing ships.
What? Where did Uncle Chop's rank on your list? Do you remember?
5. Number 5.
5. Okay, like
Yep.
that's for a game that you knew about for 2, maybe 3 weeks before Game of the Year actually started, and you had to lock down your list. It went from a game that you didn't know anything about, had never heard of before, to your 5th favorite game of 2024. I think that's beautiful.
It's a great game, man. It's a fantastic game. I've been playing a lot of that over the break, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm at a point now where I need to finish this run, and this will be a different ending, which I think I'm close to getting. And then I'll have a fresh start. And there's one more ending I know of for sure. I think there's others, but there's at least one other path that I know how to start, and I'm hoping to start that with you the next time we stream it.
That'd be great. Can't wait
Yeah,
to
man.
see more of that game. I like looking at that game, and I like watching you play that game because you bring a certain amount of enthusiasm to that, and it's been
fucking
great
fantastic. But yeah, Uncle Chops is
you
great.
had one other pick for the month of December. Those are my 2 picks, and I didn't play either of them. But you had another pick on December. What did you think about Indiana Jones, and what's the thing?
The Great Circle.
Yeah.
Chase, here's what I think. There was a fascist labeled in the game, sitting in front of a fire, that I had a frying pan in my hand, and I hit them so hard in the head that it busted the chair beneath them, and they ragdolled out in front of the fireplace. And Indiana
So
Jones,
it's a 10?
It's 10. Actually, beating fascists on the side, that's it is. I think one of the
Sure.
one of the biggest fucking failures on top of others that Microsoft had last year. I think this game would have done much better on Game of the Year if that would have came out in November. I don't know why I don't know what they needed to do to push it to that point, but there's a lot more of a video game there than I thought there would be, and this is
a Bethesda game, right? Or Bethesda published game, or a Bethesda developed game?
This is Machine Games through Bethesda.
Oh, okay.
And this is running on, I think it's called the id engine, if I'm not mistaken. It's the same engine that they used in Doom, and I think it's the same engine that they use in Wolfenstein.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really well done, man. Like
Machine Games does well. Like those Wolfenstein games are fun. Doom is fun.
Lucy from GameSpot, she had said it's basically Dishonored mixed with Hitman, and I think that's a really good descriptor for it.
Nice.
So that's cool.
So we when we talked about this on the December preview, I think we both mentioned that neither of us are huge Indiana Jones fans.
No.
You've at least seen all the movies. I have not. I still haven't seen. I've seen bits and pieces of them. I should watch them
Yeah,
someday.
you should.
But you said your wife was a big fan, and you
She
were
is.
playing this game. You were planning to play this game with her so she could kind of watch what was happening. How has that gone?
We haven't done that yet. I'm still in the opening. So the Vatican area is where you end up going. Slight spoiler, and there's a lot to do there. Like you can coast through it and just kind of like get your chops and go and do the story. But there's a lot of really cool stuff. There's an underground boxing thing at the Vatican that you can go and work
Sure,
through.
of course.
So I've just been kind of like doing the video game stuff because she doesn't care about like all of that. Like the side quest stuff's actually really interesting, and there's a whole thing with you get points to upgrade your abilities through various things that you can find like comic books and shit like that. But you have a camera and there's things in the world that you can take pictures of, and that gives you points. I've been just going around taking a lot of pictures. It's a very pretty game. Some might say it's the best looking game of 2024. But it's cool. Like I do think when this comes to the PlayStation, which I believe got slightly delayed given the success it had, Chase, I don't see any reason why you don't pick this one up. I think this is absolutely something that you would enjoy playing.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, I feel like I've got at least 3 films to watch before I check it out. But
Yeah, this is, well, you could do it in order. This is between 2 and 3.
okay, and most people don't even like 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of the oh my god, Brandon.
I mean, they
Roth,
like 3 better than 4,
yes,
and
5.
did they make a 5th one?
Yeah,
Oh God, they did. Oh,
that one
Jesus.
just came out last year or the year before.
Okay.
So, but yeah, anyway, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, really good video game.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby, before we get into the games of this next month here in January of 2025, we got to talk about some of the free stuff that people can pick
Who
up.
doesn't love free stuff, Chase?
Free stuff is great, and we'll keep telling you about the free stuff that you can get, and we'll start with PlayStation Plus Essential. If this is your first time watching one of these preview episodes, we don't go through the extra and premium, the whatever the additional levels and
And we say
tiers of
free
PlayStation Plus
tongue in
are.
cheek, but it is, you're paying for a subscription, but these are the quote unquote free things you get with that.
Correct. So we just go through the essential ones. And we've got 3 games to talk about. The first one is a game that is on PlayStation 5. It is called Suicide Kill the Justice League, which
Man.
Whew,
They
yeesh.
they did announce that this thing is winding down completely. I think that they canceled out some of the plans they had for it. The other thing I will call out, I think it has crossplay, and I think the servers are okay for now, but I don't know. Like, I think they
Yeah.
were basically trying to make it to where you could do it offline. So while you can get it for free, and I think you could buy this for $3 right now or $4 on Steam and other places, you might your mileage will vary for sure. I mean, it would have varied at launch on this thing.
Sure. I mean, that's a great thing about PlayStation Plus is you get it for free and just
Yeah.
try it out if you wanted to, and you probably should if you want to, because it's probably not going to be around
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
anymore. It always bugged me that it started as a server side game. Like to not have an offline mode is ridiculous. Like I still think Destiny should have an offline mode. I know it's completely impractical, but like that's
It's
from a preservation standpoint. Like you're just telling the world someday my game will die and none of you will be able to play it
well,
anymore, and that's fucked up.
That runway's gotten so much shorter, and there's a whole podcast we can do on talking about this, I'm sure. But
Someday we will.
5 or 6 years ago, all these studios chasing that games as a service, and then you're so far committed to it that like if you do try to pivot because the industry shifted so drastically, like they all had to know that they were going to take a loss on this. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, luckily Warner Brothers can maybe bury it in some sort of tax document elsewhere, but fucking crazy to see how the shit's going.
Yeah, it sounded like the game was okay. Like the game itself was okay. It just maybe a little
Yeah.
boring, maybe a little like just repetitive. But I don't know. Yeah, those trailers were okay. As a person who doesn't care about superheroes and double doesn't care about most DC stuff, trailer seemed all right.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. You play for free.
Let's talk about some other games you can play for free on PlayStation Plus. Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe for PS4 and PS5. I've only played the original Stanley Parable, I believe. I don't think I played Ultra Deluxe.
I
Maybe I
own it, but I
did,
haven't played it. I've not played
because
the original.
I definitely got the achievement of like don't play this game for a year, I believe. This game's
Yes.
great. Stanley Parable
Yes.
rules. But yes, I think I did play through it as a Stanley Parable at one point, and then when Ultra Deluxe came out, maybe I did like load it up, and I got that achievement. Um, it's cool. It's got like a Portal feel to it of walking around in first person.
100%.
But you know, you're not doing puzzle solving. Well, you are and you aren't. You're not. You don't have a gun. You're not building portals and swapping through them. But you are, you know, listening to this internal monologue, external, like a voice that's
There's a
happening in a
voice.
GLaDOS kind of style, but this voice that is kind of narrating what's happening, and you can go against that narration or go with that narration to get different
It's a
things. It's
hell of a
just a
thing.
it's a really cool thing.
Yeah,
I think the less you know about it going in, the better.
I would
There's a
agree with
lot of
that.
other games that play in this kind of a sandbox. I think about something like a Superliminal, even
Yeah, I think that's a fair one.
what's the what's the game I really like, Bobby? The name I always forget. The
Viewfinder.
photo one.
Viewfinder.
Viewfinder. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like it's all in that kind of style, and people should play the Stanley Purple if you haven't. And now it's free
It's
to
free.
you if you would
Grab it.
like to try it. And then the last one is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. This was originally on the PS4, and so it's only a PS4 version. It's not like upscaled into. Actually, originally, I guess it was on Xbox 360 and PS3, but then it got the remaster for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and now that is being ported to or available now for your PS5. This is one of the best racing games on the PlayStation 5, and it came out for the PS3 and Xbox 360. Like I went through PSN to try to, because I was just curious, like what other racing games would I say are better than this that are available on a PlayStation 5 today? Like if Xbox, there's all sorts of Forza and Forza
Yeah,
Horizon games, and I
Xbox
go,
has
yeah,
those
there's
for sure.
and I love those games. I think I love them more than Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. But PlayStation's a different beast. You don't have those. I mean, I know a lot of people would go with Gran Turismo and be like, "Yeah, Gran Turismo 7." People really like Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the list, I was like, Wreckfest
Wreckfest
is
is up
very
there.
good, and it's
Yeah.
on everything. And Burnout Paradise, which was another game that was from the 360 PS3 era,
Game.
which is also fantastic, made by the same people who made Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. That's also a very excellent game. But outside of that, like the Crew, I am playing the fucking Crew.
Yeah, no
They've made a bunch of other Need for Speed games that have been kind of good and kind of bad, like Need for Speed Heat, Need for Speed Rivals, Need for Speed Unbound. I think was the latest one. You played some of that and kind of liked it, right?
I liked that one a whole lot. That was really good.
Yeah. But for my money, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is awesome, and the remastered version is also very good. I remember playing this on PS4. Still, honestly, seriously, one of the best racing games you can play, and it's free. It's free now, so just go grab it.
Yeah.
Also, a bunch of other Need for Speed games are on super sale. Like Need for Speed Rivals is like $1.99.
That's a steal.
For like the complete edition with a bunch of extra bullshit. There's some other ones that are like $2.99 or $6, but like a bunch of like incredibly cheap games. They're not always the best ones. I think Rivals is supposed to be pretty good. I think Payback is supposed to be pretty good. But I can tell you for damn certain that Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered is awesome and free. So definitely go play that one. Bobby, I'm going to throw it over to you and have you tell us a little bit that's going to come to Game Pass this month.
There's a lot coming and some stuff going, so keep up, Chase. We've got a game that you liked a whole lot called Carrion that came out in 2020, so not a new game, but new to Game Pass. Road 96 is coming back to Game Pass. I think it's coming back. And then the next three we'll talk about more in a bit, but Eternal Strands, Sniper Elite Resistance, and Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. But to make room for those, because you have to. You can't get a full plate, Chase, over on Game Pass.
One in, one
No,
out.
Takes backsies here. You got to get close to the sun.
That's a good
Humankind.
game.
We played Humankind. We liked that quite a bit, right?
Do we play Humankind or do we play Humanity?
Humanity. Never mind. We did not play Humankind.
Different thing.
Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. We did not play that.
No.
And
probably
McPixel
pretty good,
3, which sounds like something that you and Jiggy would talk about.
Whoa, what the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. This sounds like something you all
I
would
don't
talk about.
I don't know if I appreciate that. McPixel sounds familiar. Let me look up McPixel real quick. I know we've got other shit.
It sounds
going
like
on,
something you get from McDonald's for breakfast.
Yeah.
What is a McPixel?
It's a mind-blowing save the day adventure that sees the titular wannabe hero avert one disaster after another.
I think I take back what I said about you and
It's
Jiggy.
it's a Devolver Digital joint.
Maybe you would play this then.
So maybe you should shut the fuck up, Bobby. Maybe
I
you'd
should
like
shut
this.
the fuck up. Maybe I would like this. Yeah, well, it's going, so get it while you can. And that's what's happening on Game Pass this month, Chase.
Sounds good. Oh, we do have one more important piece of business to do before we get into the
Shall
rankings.
we?
I will say I had this thing that I did 2 years ago called Backlog Roulette, where I played a new old video game to me. I had this big wheel. You can see it now. I had this big wheel of like 100-ish games that I'd always meant to play, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. So this was my way of giving myself that little push.
The backlog became the very thing it was created to destroy.
And it was great. And I played those
the backlog
games.
Wheel is returned.
Yeah, some of those games were fantastic. Some of those games were not so good, but I'm glad I played and tried all of them. And then in 2024, I kept it up a little bit, but I kind of took some breaks from it. I wasn't so stringent of having to play one a month.
Chase, before you get dizzy. Let's be honest here. Nobody likes to get dizzy.
But there was a certain game that came up that I was very excited about that came up a few months ago, and that was Heat Signature, which is a game I've always been excited to play. It's from the same maker of Gunpoint, which was another game that was on the wheel, and I played and absolutely fell in love with. It's by the same person who made Tactical Breach Wizards, which Bobby has played a lot last year and enjoyed quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd always meant to play Heat Signature. And I can tell you, I put it off for a couple months because we had Game of the Year stuff happening, and it just kind of got pushed to the wayside. But I played Heat Signature. And I'm not going to talk all about it. I will just say I really enjoyed it. I didn't play a ton of it, but also it's a game that uses your keyboard for movement, and so I don't like that.
What a casual.
I wish you could play. I am. It's the casual hour, and I am casual. I wish this game could be playable with the controller. It probably is on a Steam Deck. I don't know, but I think there's some really cool stuff in that game. And I'll go back and play it some more. It's kind of like a roguelike-y thing in a way, even though it's not really a roguelike. It has some of those elements in it, and it was pretty cool. So nice. I might play more of that game and talk about it on a future episode, but that means it is technically off the wheel. And I'm free to do another wheel thing, and it's the month of January, and I got to be honest, not a ton there that I'm excited about. So I thought, what the hell? Let's spin the wheel, start the year with something fun. So, Bobby, would you mind spinning that wheel and seeing what game I probably need to actually give a shot to this month?
Doing it. I'm doing it
okay.
For chat. I'm doing it for me.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Could be good. Could be bad. I don't like Bobby shaking his head. I'm on a bit of a delay. Okay, Bayonetta 2. Huh. Okay, that is on the Switch. I do not own that game, so I'll have to purchase it.
You put it on your list.
What?
I know. I was really grimacing because you almost got Diablo 2, and I was really hoping that would happen.
Yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been nice, right? That would have been nice. What Diablo 2 is a game I do own on my Switch and just haven't played. Bayonetta 2. I think I will like that a lot. The first Bayonetta is a great game. I played it all the way through, and I just never played the second one. I hear the third one's not as good, so I might not need to worry about playing 3, but I should probably play the second one. All right, Bobby. And Pierce in chat. Let's get to the real good stuff, and let's talk about the games of December. And why don't we start on the 7th of Did I say December? January.
I was like
Living in the
checking my notes
past.
here.
Start with January 7th. East Memoir, sorry. The Oath in Felghana comes to the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PS5. This is a remaster of a PSP game, which is itself a remake of the 1990s East 3. But Ys, it's like a action RPG. It's a classic series. They've made 10 of them.
There's
They've made more than 10. There's a lot of Ys games. And I'll tell you, man, trying to look up where to start with Ys is a tough thing. There's a whole website that has, you know, you're familiar with this, Bobby. When somebody says, "Oh, what's the best way to watch Star Wars?" and people will go, "Oh, like here's this person's version." What's the version?
Machete.
Yes, the machete order, or like, oh, here's a different order, and like, oh, you should watch them in this way so you don't ruin the surprise of Vader, or just fuck it, watch them in release order, or fuck it, watch them in chronological order, and all of those people are ridiculous. Ys has a similar thing of like apparently there's like one protagonist of all the Ys games, and all of them happen out of order, but they're all like his journey. So some of the games, if you play them in chronological order, you're going to get spoiled for something that happens later, but it's also in it's very weird. And also, not all the games are out here. Like some of them are Japan only, which makes it double fucked up.
Stay over there because this doesn't look very good.
I think this looks actually pretty cool. I would like to try this. I own Ys Origin, which actually doesn't feature the same protagonist because it happens like 700 years before the happenings of Ys 1. I think this looks pretty cool. I like this. I mean, this isn't HD 2D for sure, but this is really nice, sharp pixel art. And
it's got the BCE, man.
I kind of dig it. I because I own Ys Origin already, I'll probably just play that one instead to just see if I like Ys. But if I do, I could totally see myself purchasing this and picking it up.
Right on.
Let's move on to the 14th. And, there's lots of other games in between these, but I didn't think they were all that interesting. Again, January is not necessarily the most exciting month for new releases, but here were some things that were kind of exciting. Like Hyper Light Breaker is coming to PC in early access on the 14th of January.
Very excited for this one.
Me too, but I'm not 100% sure why, because as much as I loved the idea of Hyper Light Drifter, the game before this one, I kickstarted that game. I love the look of it. When I played it, I had fun, but I didn't get all that far into it.
Different than
yeah, I mean that was a 2D top-down kind of game, and this is a 3D thing. Reminds me a lot of Solar Ash just from the style.
I think this was like announced shortly after that came out, so I'm assuming there's probably some shared development on both.
Possibly. You're excited about it. What's exciting you about it?
I mean, I think the world, like I enjoyed being in that world more than I enjoyed playing in Drifter. I like Solar Ash quite a bit. I like Heart Machine in general. I think that they've got a really cool IP that they're working through. And I as Pearson, you're both talking about here in chat, like I'm kind of hoping it does have that Risk of Rain treatment, because I fell for Risk of Rain 2 way more than I did just the original Risk of Rain. And I also like the idea of, hey, there's something that maybe I could play with you or a Jiggy or, another friend of the show, Pierce, perhaps.
Yeah. Did they say this one's a roguelike?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the first game is not. The first game is like a Zelda game.
Yeah, this is a roguelite. You can play it with up to 3 people. I don't know like if there's going to be like certain characters or like you kind of create your own. I don't know much about that yet. And I don't know what kind of persistent stuff. This is also early access, so I would imagine a lot can and will change based off of player input. But
on Steam, it talks about how, hey, we really want your help in building this. It feels like it's kind of like a Hades kind of thing. Of like, we've got stuff in here, we've got a vision, we've got some ideas, but we really want to work with the community to turn this into something that everybody's excited about.
Yeah, I like the idea of like going out, finding loot with friends. And this might be something that's like just to fuck around. Like, you know what? I just want to like have a glass of wine, play this game with some friends, hang out, do my thing. I can see that being a really cool thing with this one.
Yeah, definitely. On to the 16th, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD comes to the Nintendo Switch. I have been getting YouTube ads out the ass
They're
for this
pushing
one.
it hard.
They are pushing it hard, and it's a good game. Like this originally came out in 2010 on the Wii. It's a good game. I'm not the biggest fan of Donkey Kong style platformers. I was not a big Donkey Kong Country fan on the Super Nintendo. I loved the way it looked, but just couldn't ever really get into it. I've played this and liked it. I think most people like Tropical Freeze, the game that came after this one, more.
This isn't just Donkey Kong Country from the Super Nintendo, right?
No. This is like a brand new game in that same style.
Okay.
But, well, it was a brand new game in 2010 on the Wii.
Yeah.
And now this is an HD remaster of that. And then Tropical Freeze was a sequel to that one that did more new stuff.
I don't have it selected on here, but knowing that, like, Donkey Kong Countries is one of Sarah's favorite games.
Yeah.
She loved this. I could see us, because we've done the co-op on that. I think this is going to get a physical release, right?
I have. I mean, most Nintendo games do.
Yeah.
Yes, this would absolutely probably get one. I remember having a good time with this one on the Wii. And again, this isn't even my genre or my style of platformer that I like, but this seemed perfectly great.
Do you know
this
if it
came
has
out
online
after
co-op, or is it only going to be couch co-op?
that? I don't know. This came out, I believe, after Rayman Origins did, which I feel like that game really kicked off the idea of what if we go back and just make really good 2D platformers again. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of developers kind of went and said, yeah, we should make more games like that. And then it's not to say that they weren't making 2D platformers before that, but I feel like Rayman Origins and this like share some kind of DNA, and it's not just because they both have these the silhouette levels where they're like sunset, although they both do. This one could be good. We'll see.
Yeah.
On the 17th, Dynasty Warriors Origins comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I'm a sicko. I'm definitely a sicko. I played the demo of this last month.
You're high on
and I thought it was great. I thought it was really cool. There's it's Bobby, when you've read Romance of the Three Kingdoms and you've played a lot of Dynasty Warriors games, one of the things I like about Dynasty Warriors is when you get to play as all the guys. The guys are cool. I want to play as Zhao Dun, and I want to play as Lu Bu and whatever.
If you don't read the books, you don't got to play the games. Problem solved, Chase.
That's not true. You played Black Myth Wukong without reading
I
Journey to the West.
Myself on it, and then I have the Hyrule, shrine over here that has all the books I needed to play Hyrule Warriors. So I came educated to that. Here, no. But I do hear that if you are of the sickness, this is more of that. In a good way.
Yeah, so I'll try to give you the quick version. Dynasty Warriors 9, the game before this, was bad. It was like a big open world thing. It tried to change it was trying to do something good. Dynasty Warriors was very formulaic. They'd made 8 different Dynasty Warriors. In fact, they've made 9 there because they're off in Japan. They made one more in Japan, but it was a fighting game. It doesn't matter. And so Dynasty Warriors 9, while it tried to do something new, just was not great. This one tries to kind of come back and go, okay, we're going back to the roots. We're doing the Dynasty Warriors that you love, but we're still trying to do something new because now you are playing as this brand new protagonist. This is a completely fictional character they made up for this, but it's just kind of like your self-insert. And we're going to let you choose which factions you're a part of. And now you're fighting alongside Liu Bei instead of fighting as Liu Bei. And we'll see if that's cool. Again, the demo in terms of playing the game, I think the game plays in a really fun way.
You played on PlayStation,
your character,
right?
Do I?
You played it on PlayStation?
Yes, I played it on PS5 and think it ran well and thought it was great there. Your character gets a lot of customization abilities. You can pick lots of different weapons types, so you're not going to be locked into just a sword guy. We'll see. And also, English voice acting is back, which is great and bad and great that it's bad. Missed it. At some point they were just doing Japanese and not even doing English voice dubs, but going back to the dubs is very important because
got to get those dubs, man.
That's Dynasty Warriors, baby. I'm very excited for Origins, and it's coming out relatively soon.
Right on.
On the 23rd, Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection comes to PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. I just kind of dug this. This is one I saw and was like, that actually seems kind of cool. I wanna see more about that. This is like a dungeon crawler where you are fighting enemies and then you can summon the defeated enemies to fight with you. And I don't know, there's just something about the art style and kind of the combat that seemed neat to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's skip a little further in, and you'll get to see a little bit more about it. But I don't know,
Yeah, I
just
can
something kind of
see.
appealed to me.
Yeah. Look, like, huh. That is interesting. So I see some leveling on above the enemies there.
Hmm.
That's creepy.
I
So
think
it's
it's
not
got
quite
some.
like full on PS1 era graphics, but I think it's definitely coded that way.
Yeah, right. It's like a little bit of N64, but
Yeah.
like cleaner
Yeah.
polygons, but it
Yeah.
is still kind of evoking that same style. I don't know. If
All
this
right.
got some good reviews, I could see myself picking it up and giving it a shot.
Sure.
Yeah, I just thought it looked neat. Also on the 23rd, Sin Duality Echo of Ada comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series
I don't know if I
X.
know anything about this.
So this is a mech game.
Okay. Yeah.
I like I like games about mechs. I like mechs. This one though is also an extraction shooter. So if you're a Tarkov sicko, maybe this is closer to your thing. Um,
I like extraction shooters.
yeah, you might like this. But
Uh,
also like
I
there's
there's some baggage with it.
yes, so you know how in like Near Automata where your anime girl protagonist has like a little robot buddy that flies
Yeah.
around with him? What if you swapped those roles? What if you were the robot and the anime girl was your little buddy? That's
It sounds like
that's
somebody's been reading your fan fiction.
they got my letters.
That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like somebody got a
Um,
little Google Doc hack.
So it is mostly like an online extraction shooter, but it does have a
Okay.
single player campaign. I kind of like some of the stuff I see here, even though I very much do not care for extraction shooters. But this might be one
Why don't you
where
make it
Bobby, if
Lost
you
Planet, you cowards? Make it a Lost
well,
Planet mech, you know?
yes, absolutely. If they did that, I would just like them to put all the Lost Planet games back on Steam. One of them
Yeah.
is gone. I forgot which one, if it was two or three, but one of them is not on Steam anymore. And
Hmm.
I kind of just want to play some bad Lost Planet games. But I don't
Give us
know. This
Anthem.
looks kind of cool. I like these style of mechs. I think they're fun. I think
Yeah.
they're fun.
All right.
All right, let's keep going. Bobby, you mentioned this is coming to Game Pass on the 28th. Eternal Strands comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Did you
We're there
miss
now.
the? There you go.
Wait, no, I got
Gotcha.
it. I got it here.
Sweet.
I don't.
So I think you're a little bit more excited than I am on this one. You want to tell me a
I
little
don't
bit
know if
about
I'm more
Eternal
excited
Strands?
or not. I think it looks interesting, and it being on Game Pass, I don't really have a reason not to check it out. I
Yeah.
got kind of. I don't want to call it like a B game, and not in a derogatory sense. I don't think there's anything wrong with B games.
I mean, it is an indie studio,
Yeah.
so it's they don't have the resources of some of these bigger
Totally.
places.
But I think that there is something here that could be cool. I kind of got like a dark side, not from this, but like the overall, like what I'm kind of expecting from it would be like how I would approach like a Darksiders. I don't think it looks terrible. I think it looks interesting to say the least, with some of the elemental stuff and the magic stuff that I'm seeing here. I'm hoping there's some interesting upgrading. But the story, I'm that's where I'm most curious. Is like what's going on in this world? Like tell me about why we're fighting these things. Like who are you? Why do you have this ability? But being on if it wasn't on Game Pass, I don't know if I'd rush out to check it out. But I'll
Yeah.
download it and I'll see what it's about for sure.
It looks really ambitious from this trailer. Like there's just a bunch of stuff that you can do, like a bunch of magic mixing stuff, like some kind of like Assassin's Creed climbing stuff that's going on here, some RPG elements, and it's just like, damn, there's a lot of stuff in here. And for a smaller studio, you just like hope that they can pull all that stuff off, and that they didn't bite off
that
more than
Game
they can
Pass
chew.
boost will help somebody a little bit more positioned like
Possible.
this. But I'll check it out for sure. Like I typically like action RPGs, and this seems to be doing some cool stuff in that that realm. So
Yeah, I'm certainly intrigued. I'm going to keep an eye on this one and see if it's able to pull off what it's promising here. But
yeah,
it does. If they pull off what they're promising, that could be really damn
yeah.
cool. I don't know. We'll have to see. Also on the 28th, the Stone of Madness comes to PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. This is from the makers of Blasphemous. If you remember that game,
Yeah, I've not
yeah,
played it, but it looks so fucking cool.
yeah. Blasphemous had like a really dark, weird pixel art style. I believe somebody in
I think they've
Spain
got the
made
dark
Blasphemous.
stuff here again. I don't know if they got the
Yeah,
pixel though.
so definitely a new style, but tone very similar here. So this is like an RTS stealth game.
I was gonna say it's got a completely different approach than the first.
Yeah,
from
and you're
Blasphemous.
playing as all these different characters, and you're all trying to get out of this kind of prison together. And it does have this sanity system, so it has like some darkest dungeon elements to it. I don't think I'm necessarily gonna like it, but I think it's cool. I just think the idea stuff is cool. There's a
Yeah,
lot of interesting stuff going on, like a big clockwork
there,
kind of world
there
where
was
you're.
that one. Let me see if I can find it for her. You were talking about the sanity.
Mhm,
It looked like one of the
like some big
characters.
skill tree stuff.
Yeah, on the skill tree portion of it, it looked like they got yeah, here it is. So Agnes gets, instead of that, she gets forgetful. So I'm wondering if that is something with like, because when I was watching the trailer for it,
Mm,
um it seems like it was doing something where this is almost like an Ocean's 11 thing. Like everybody has a very specific role to play to get you out of this prison. And when I saw her get the forgetful, I'm like, well, that would suck if there was something that she was supposed to be doing that was like clockwork to get this done. But like you
yeah.
have this trade off where, anyway, if it's to the narrative to the degree that I think it is, that could be really cool here with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems exciting that somebody's trying something real
Yeah.
weird and fun like that. I don't necessarily think it's my thing, but
Yeah.
I respect the hell of it. I think it's cool. Also on the 28th, let's talk about Warside, a game that's coming to PC, Switch, PS4,
I think I've
Xbox,
seen this
PS4,
before.
PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Yeah, somebody saw Advance Wars, and they said we could make one of those. And to
Dude,
be
this
fair,
is
a lot of people have tried to make Advance Wars since Nintendo doesn't seem to be making
Chase.
new
This is
Advance
just
Wars.
fucking Advance Wars.
It is. It is. They do have some new ideas. I did watch a video talking about some of the different ideas that they have in here. Like you don't capture buildings the same way. There's actually, it's actually a lot like Wargroove and Advance Wars mixed, because
Okay.
there's some of the Wargroove stuff that's in here. There's some new unit types. Like there's a sniper. Which is an infantry unit that has artillery style indirect combat capabilities.
Did
So like
Wargroove 2
they've
actually
got
come
some.
out? Did they beat Wargroove 2 to their own shit?
I think Wargroove 2 is out. I'm almost positive Wargroove 2 is out.
I'll check.
I could be wrong, but I think it is. Yeah, this seems cool. Like it's it's
It is
certainly a smaller thing, but it looks great. It looks more like
the
Advance
pixel art's
Wars
great.
than
Yeah.
like there's so many games that have tried to be Advance Wars and they've fallen on their faces for multiple reasons. And this one seems more promising
You think you'll pick
than
it up?
some of the other ones that I've seen. I'm considering it.
Yeah.
Again, I've been burned a couple of times. I've purchased some games that were supposed to be like Advance Wars and then they kind of sucked. I didn't even really like Wargroove all that much when I played Wargroove, but
Sure.
so again, I'll keep an eye out on this one, and if it ends up being good, then I could totally see myself picking it up and playing some more. After playing a lot of Advance Wars last year, I'd be down to play some more Advance Wars.
For sure.
Because again, Nintendo ain't making any more new Advance Wars. It doesn't seem. Let's move on. We talked about snipers in Warside. Why don't we talk about snipers in Sniper
Yeah,
Elite
baby.
Resistance, which is coming out January 30th on PC, PS4,
Fuck yeah.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series
There's not
X.
going to be a pair of balls from the fucking Nazi regime
Yep.
that is safe, Chase. I'm telling you
Bobby's
right now.
Bobby's got a parable about a pair of balls, you know?
I am coming for your balls, you fascist fucks.
God damn it. You're
I'll,
just all
I'll
all into killing fascists these
I'll
days, which
take it from
hey,
here,
again,
Chase.
I have no problem with. I'm totally fine with this. Bobby, run me down. So I played Sniper Elite 3, I
Okay.
believe, which I enjoyed quite a bit. You have played a lot more Sniper Elite than I have, correct?
I mean, I've played through 5 and all the DLC. I played a little bit of 4. I own 3. I have not played 3. And this one is set during the events of 5, but will be off to the distance around what's going on. So
Okay.
a
And this is
lot of
still World War II, correct?
yeah. This is
Gotcha.
literally like you end up taking out Hitler in the DLC from the last game,
Okay.
which is very, very satisfying.
Sure.
And here, there's a lot of crazy shit that you are doing on those missions, and this is going to be taking off to the side and kind of doing more fringe storytelling. But I think it's going to be really, really fun. These games are just a blast to play. They're so fucking stupid with their camera, but I love it. I can't wait. I will be streaming the shit out of this one on Friday nights. Johnny at the time when he was on the show, we played co-op and had a blast. Like if this has that, there's a ton of fun here. And being on Game Pass, like if you've never played one of these like me, when it came to Game Pass, I had no excuse. I fell in love with the series. There's just really fun missions. It's like video game.
Yeah, like here's just like a big arena,
Go do your
and
shit.
yeah, there's a big house over here on a hill, and you got to kill somebody who's inside that, and here's like another person. It's like these. It reminds me a little bit of like Metal Gear Solid 5, where here's a big area, and here's some stuff you have to do in that area, and we're just gonna let you go. And it's not quite as big and open as a Metal Gear Solid 5 was. Which in some ways is a good thing because it's a little bit more focused on that, but you still have lots of room to run around and try things. It's a little Hitman-y in that way where you
Big
can
time.
test some stuff out and try some stuff and see if it's fun. You're not always sniping. There are other weapons in the game, but the sniping is cool. And yeah, when you play it multiplayer, like it reminds me a lot of that Call of Duty 4 mission when the single player in the Call of Duty 4 mission, but like you're sniping and then your other guy's sniping and he's giving you the stuff of like, okay, you're gonna get the guy on the left and I'm gonna get the guy on the right, and on 3, 1, 2, 3, and you get to do the same thing only with another real person, and that shit is so cool.
It's great.
Yeah,
man.
they are some solid games.
I will be playing a lot of this.
Very cool. You know what? I might pick this one up too. We'll see. Yes, all gillied up, Pierce. That is the mission I was thinking of. Thank you. And then finally, on the 31st, Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector comes to PC, Mac, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I liked the first one.
But man, I think a lot more than I ended up liking it.
Yeah, and what was the other game that came out around the same time where it was just kind of like you like one or you like the other?
Oh my god, it
Norco.
was Norco, which I fell hard for Norco.
Yeah, and Norco's a fantastic game. I think Norco is probably a better game than Citizen Sleeper. I liked the original Citizen Sleeper probably mostly because the art. I also really liked the dice system.
Yeah.
The problem that I had is just that it didn't feel like there were any consequences. Like the game feigned there were going to be consequences, and then wouldn't actually follow through with any of those consequences. And it was also a little too easy. So like,
I mean, I know people love that game. Love this game.
I think it had a lot of promise, and I know there's some DLC, and they tried some more things with it. I just remember playing my playthrough and being very happy with it, and was very excited for what they were going to do next. But I was kind of hoping it would be something not Citizen Sleeper, just not a direct sequel.
I can see that.
And this is I guess it's not a direct sequel. You're playing as a different character in a different world, but it is still Citizen Sleeper. But it looks a lot bigger, a lot more things. There's kind of like crew that you're assembling, and you're able to bring people in and kick people out. A lot more dice rolling, a lot more stuff like that. I kind of wonder if it's maybe too big. I think one of the other things I liked about Citizen Sleeper that it was quiet and singular, and you felt lonely on this station.
100%.
And I think having all these characters in here, and who knows, maybe the story, it has a different vibe and I'll feel differently about it.
I'll
But
check it out.
I like the
I don't have a lot
mechanics of the
promise.
game.
going into it. But
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
My expectations are definitely a little bit lowered than before, and so I'm not 100% sure I'll be grabbing this one, even though I think that first game was really close to being super special, and just
Yeah,
ended up being kind of cool.
yeah,
And kind of cool is a big disappointment when you thought it was going to be something really, really, really amazing. So we'll see about Citizen Sleeper 2. I still have some faith. I think, with some feedback that they've gotten from the first game, maybe they can build something that's going to be a little bit more to the taste that I'd like it
yeah.
to be. But we'll have to see. So, Bobby, those are the games that are coming out in January. It's time for us to make a couple of picks here. So, what has you interested? What's grabbing you for the month of January?
I'm definitely going to be playing Hyper Light Breaker. That's probably what I'm probably most excited for. Sniper Elite. I'm going to be getting that on Game Pass. Anything on Game Pass, I'm going to check out. So I'll do Eternal Strands, Sniper Elite, and Citizen Sleeper. I'll probably get Donkey Kong for Sarah and I, but no promises on that one. I still have some stuff I'm bopping through. I'll talk more about next week when we get into a what you've been playing episode. But yeah, those are the three that I'm for sure going to be checking out, though.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I will also probably be playing a lot of Dragon Quest and some other games over the course of this month. But Dynasty Warriors obviously is something I'm pretty excited about, and hope it follows through with. Those games are very fun, and I think a new perspective is a cool way to go. And then, man, I hope Citizen Sleeper 2 is good, and if it is, I'll totally play it and probably love it. But I think there's some other games on this list that we
started on Game Pass just to test the water and see.
Probably not. I think if I'm going to try it, I'm going to try it on my system of choice. But I'll probably read some reviews. I feel like there's a lot of games on here that I'm interested in or intrigued by that I'm going to keep some tabs on and see if they actually follow through. And if they do, I'm happy to buy them and try them. So we'll try that. That's it for the month of January, Bobby. I'll send it back to you to close out the episode.
Yeah, let's see if I can get all of our stuff to pull up here. There we go. Seabrass is on top of it. You can follow along with all of our fun stuff. This is our first episode of the year. We took Monday off, just relaxing with the holiday. But Friday, I think I'm going to show you all. I redid my base in Pal World for the big Faybreak Island update. I've been playing a lot of that. And I got some new pals to get. So I'm thinking on Friday, I'm going to take you all back to Pal World and check that one out. That's what we've got going on here. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Threads. We are no longer posting on Twitter. And you can follow along with our links right there. TheCasualHour.com will get you to all the things. Our audio only, our VODs, all that. So get familiar with the brand and let us know how you're feeling. That's what we've got going on. Chase and maybe Pierce if you're still around. You all are busy.
Yeah, we had a Pearson chat with us tonight, and Pierce and I have a podcast called Pilot Program, where we watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. I'm not sure when our next episode's going to be. Pierce and I need to talk about that, but now that we're past the holidays, maybe we can start that discussion. But if you want to go listen to our latest episode, it was on a cook's tour, the first Anthony Bourdain show, which was quite good. We both enjoyed it and had a really good conversation about it. Go to shows.acast.com/pilot program and check out all the episodes we did, including that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then, as for me, I've got a YouTube channel, JCK Plays, where I'm continuing to put some stuff out there. I didn't know what I was gonna do for 2025, so I kind of just opened up my Switch, started recording, and went through my Switch library and talked about a bunch of games that I had and hadn't played, or had started but hadn't gone through, or here's my thoughts on this. It was kind of just a fun, chill.
Did you change the name
recording
from Chasey K Plays to what Chasey K doesn't play? Is that what?
Correct.
This is?
Yes. Oh, okay. For one episode anyway. Yes. Although I did play a little Easy Come Easy Golf.
The only person to do a Let's Play where they don't play. I love it.
I played some Easy Come Easy Golf. I showed the people Don Pappas. Our good friend Don Pappas. It was a good time.
Saint Don Pappas.
But I think with the help of Bobby, I have figured out the next thing I'm going to play for Chasey K Plays, and I'm very excited to get that out there and to show everybody the thumbnail that Bobby so graciously designed for me. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So go check that out. I'll talk about it next week when I've started making episodes for it, but that'll be a fun one, and looking forward to 2025 on Chasey K Plays for that.
Hell yeah. Well, Chase, we've got a lot of fun stuff going on. Appreciate you getting this list put together as you always do. Pierce, thanks for being in chat. If you're in the Midwest, be safe over the weekend. Apparently the weather's going to be turning, and we want you all to stay warm and stay safe. But play something new and tell us about it. We'll be back.